Now, the first step for creating a lookup is loading in the lookup table file. From there, defining a lookup definition and automating that lookup if we are working with these fields pretty frequently and we want to refrain from piping to the lookup command every single time we want to work with these fields. Let's start off by uploading a lookup table file and walk through that process there. We're going to make our way over into the settings menu, select lookups, lookup table files, new lookup table file, and upload that CSV. Now heading up into the settings menu here, selecting lookups, lookup table files, I'm going to choose new lookup table file. My destination application will be the search and reporting app, and the lookup file here will be my subnets.csv file. Destination file name will be subnets.csv, and I will save that. I'll change the owner to myself, and I can verify here that that subnets.csv file has been loaded and saved properly. I am the owner, and it is currently private to me. Next step is going to be to create a lookup definition. This lookup definition will be the unique identifier that the lookup command will use to invoke the lookup. I'll make my way back on over into lookup definitions. In the upper right-hand corner, select new lookup definition and provide this lookup definition with a name. Now, the name does not necessarily have to be the same name as the lookup table file. In this case, the name is IP ranges. And from there, we're going to see an option to apply some advanced settings to this specific lookup definition that we are creating. And these are some advanced options that we can define for our lookup, where we have the option to specify the minimum number of matches for each input lookup value, which will default to 0 unless we specify a value. The maximum matches will default to 100 unless we specify a value. We can provide a number between 1 to 1,000 to specify the maximum number of matches for each lookup value. And along with that, we can specify default matches. When there are less than the minimum number of matches for an input, Splunk will take this default value until the minimum is reached. If we select case-sensitive match, which is enabled by default, case-sensitive matching will be performed for all fields in a lookup table. And if we are working with very large lookup files that may possibly impact performance, we can then select batch index query, which will create a batch mode search that would complete the search faster. This will improve the overall performance of large lookup files. And we can then match on non-exact values using a match type of wildcard and CIDR. We would pass in fields to either one of these match types and specify multiple by comma separating them within here. And then lastly, we can choose to filter a lookup, which filters results from the lookup table before returning data, essentially like performing a filter of values by using a Boolean expression in a search. Let's take a look at these advanced options in a demo. Selecting advanced options, we are going to set one minimum match with a default match of unknown. We will uncheck case-sensitive matching and pass in a match type of CIDR with an argument of data net. I will save these changes, verify that that lookup definition has been created, and from there, run a search across my network data across the last 24 hours. What we'll notice here is that we don't have any information regarding sites or subnet information. However, we do have a field named IP. I would like to invoke that lookup that I just created by piping over to the lookup command, specifying the name of that lookup definition, my input field followed by the output fields of site, and datanet, which I would like to rename as subnet. I will run this search, take a look at my field sidebar, and I'll notice that I have site and subnet as fields that I can use in this stats command. Once I run this search, we'll see a list of all of the IP addresses that are associated with site A, all of the IP addresses that are associated with site B, and those IP addresses that are associated with neither that are given a default match of unknown.